When two awakened souls meet, something remarkable begins to unfold, because both individuals carry a depth that has been shaped by inner work and sincere self-reflection. They have walked through confusion, fear, and silent battles, and they have emerged with a clearer understanding of who they are and what their life means. Their meeting becomes powerful because awakened souls do not approach life with masks. They approach it with honesty, clarity, and awareness. This creates a rare space where authenticity becomes the foundation of connection. When such souls encounter each other, they immediately sense the presence of truth. They feel seen in a way that is comforting rather than frightening. They recognize a familiar strength in each other, a strength that comes from surviving hardship and still choosing growth. Carl Jung believed that the deepest connections form when the unconscious of one soul recognizes the unconscious of another. This recognition does not need loud emotion or dramatic action. It is subtle, peaceful, and natural. It feels like meeting someone who speaks the same inner language, even if words have not yet been exchanged. This inner resonance inspires confidence and stillness, because awakened souls understand that genuine connection does not depend on perfection. It depends on presence. When two awakened souls meet, their presence lifts each other. Their energy encourages courage, honesty, and expansion. They inspire each other to be more grounded, more compassionate, and more aware. In their presence, growth feels natural, healing feels possible, and life feels meaningful. When two awakened souls look into each other's eyes, they do not see a stranger. They see a reflection of the inner journey they themselves have taken. This reflection brings a sense of comfort that cannot be explained through logic alone. It is a recognition that feels older than memories and deeper than emotion. It feels like the universe is reminding them that they are not alone in their path. Jung believed that such encounters are guided by the unconscious, long before the conscious mind understands their significance. This makes the meeting feel destined, not in a dramatic or romantic way, but in a psychological and spiritual way that reassures the heart. An awakened soul has already learned the importance of self-acceptance. It knows that growth comes from acknowledging both light and shadow. When two such souls meet, they create a space where they can express truth without the fear of being judged. They speak with sincerity because they have spent years learning to be sincere with themselves. They listen with patience because they have learned to listen to their own inner voice. Their connection becomes empowering because it does not demand anything. Instead, it supports everything that strengthens the soul. This creates a harmony that feels pure and liberating. Each person encourages the other to rise higher, think deeper, and live more consciously. They inspire each other to maintain their integrity, even when life becomes difficult. They remind each other that purpose matters more than approval, and that inner peace matters more than external noise. Their meeting becomes a turning point because it renews their faith in humanity and in their own journey. They feel validated in their struggles and strengthened in their values. Inspiration flows naturally because awakened souls energize each other. They ignite clarity and courage through their presence alone. Their bond becomes a lighthouse when life feels dark and overwhelming. When two awakened souls share a conversation, the depth of their dialogue becomes a form of healing in itself. They do not waste energy on superficial topics or empty judgments, because their minds naturally seek meaning and clarity. They speak about purpose, transformation, and the hidden lessons behind their experiences. They understand that every challenge they have faced carries symbolic significance. When two awakened souls stand in each other's presence, they naturally create a space where healing happens without effort. This healing does not come from advice or instruction. It comes from the calming energy of someone who understands the depth of inner struggle. They recognize the emotional scars hidden beneath the surface, yet they do not see these scars as weaknesses. They see them as symbols of resilience and transformation. Jung believed that every person carries a shadow, and awakened souls have learned to face that shadow instead of denying it. This makes their connection powerful because neither person feels the need to hide their past. They can speak openly about fear, loss, growth, and change. Their honesty becomes a bridge that brings their spirits closer. This bridge is strong because it is built from shared experiences of breaking, healing, and rising again. Each person feels safe expressing their truth because awakened souls do not judge. They understand that human nature is complex and that growth takes time. Their presence becomes comforting because it reminds each of them that they have survived everything they once thought would destroy them. This realization strengthens their confidence and motivates them to continue evolving. Their meeting becomes a turning point because it reignites hope and brings clarity to the heart. They inspire each other to remain patient, compassionate, and courageous. They remind each other that life is a journey of constant transformation, and that every setback carries the potential for deeper wisdom. In their presence, inner peace becomes easier to access, and gratitude flows naturally. Their connection becomes a gentle reminder that the soul is always guiding them toward people who help them grow. When two awakened souls continue to walk together, even briefly, they leave a lasting imprint on each other's path. This imprint is not created through attachment or dependence. It is created through the strength and purity of the energy they share. They remind each other that growth is not something to fear. It is something to embrace. They motivate each other to follow the quiet voice of intuition instead of the loud noise of the world. Jung believed that the soul expresses itself through symbols, instincts, and subtle inner movements, and awakened souls are sensitive to these signals. This sensitivity helps them understand and support each other without needing many words. Their presence becomes a source of encouragement that strengthens the spirit. Each meeting feels like a lesson, a blessing, and a moment of alignment. They bring out clarity in each other because they see one another without illusion. They bring out courage in each other because they understand the true meaning of fear. They bring out wisdom in each other because their connection reflects the deeper reality of who they are. When they part, they do not feel emptiness. They feel gratitude. They feel inspired to continue their personal journey with even more determination. They carry the memory of each other like a guiding light that stays within the heart. Their meeting becomes a reminder that the universe brings the right souls together at the right time for the right purpose. It becomes a symbol of spiritual timing, inner readiness, and the mysterious intelligence of life. When two awakened souls meet, the world around them does not necessarily change, but something inside them transforms forever. They rise a little higher, they breathe a little deeper, they walk with a little more confidence, and they trust themselves a little more completely. Their connection becomes proof that the soul is always guiding them toward growth, truth, and a deeper understanding of what it means to truly awaken. When two awakened souls meet, an extraordinary shift begins to unfold because each carries a depth shaped by inner battles, silent reflections, and profound realizations that have transformed their understanding of life. They recognize that their meeting is not an accident, but a meaningful alignment created by the inner readiness of both individuals. Awakened souls naturally attract each other because they vibrate at a level of awareness shaped by truth, introspection, and courage. This awareness creates an instant sense of trust, not the naive trust that comes from ignoring reality, but the wise trust that comes from sensing the authenticity of another person's spirit. They feel safe expressing their true thoughts and emotions because they sense that the other person will not judge or misunderstand them. Each conversation feels effortless and inspiring because both souls value depth over distraction. They understand the symbolism behind their experiences, and they appreciate that the other person can see beyond the surface. Jung believed that the unconscious expresses itself through symbols, dreams, and intuitive feelings, and awakened souls are sensitive to these subtle messages. This sensitivity makes their connection feel almost telepathic at times. They can understand each other's silence, sense each other's emotional shifts, and feel each other's presence even without words. This subtle connection brings peace instead of confusion. It brings clarity instead of uncertainty. It brings strength instead of doubt. Both individuals feel encouraged to embrace their path with more confidence because they know someone else sees their potential clearly. They do not try to change each other. They try to support each other's evolution. They honor each other's boundaries, dreams, and spiritual growth. Their relationship becomes a mirror that reflects their highest self. They help each other overcome fears, dissolve insecurities, and release old patterns. They inspire each other to rise above limitations and live with purpose. The more time they spend together, the more they realize that awakened souls do not meet to escape life. They meet to expand it. Their connection becomes a catalyst for transformation. It encourages them to listen more deeply to their intuition, trust their inner wisdom, and pursue the life that aligns with their true identity. They begin to feel more grounded, more empowered, and more aligned with their destiny. Their bond helps them release past pain because they finally feel seen, understood, and valued at the level of their soul. This recognition becomes healing without effort. It becomes growth without pressure. It becomes inspiration without expectation. They gradually understand that the universe brings people into our lives not by coincidence, but by resonance. When two awakened souls meet, they awaken even more. They elevate each other's energy. They strengthen each other's spirit, and they remind each other that they are not alone on their journey. They begin to realize that their connection is not defined by time, distance, or circumstance, but by the depth of understanding they share. This understanding becomes a constant source of motivation that strengthens their emotional and spiritual resilience. Awakened souls do not cling to each other out of fear. They walk beside each other out of choice. Their bond is not rooted in dependency. It is rooted in mutual respect and inner alignment. Each person finds themselves thinking more clearly, acting more intentionally, and living with a renewed sense of purpose, because the presence of the other reinforces their growth. Jung believed that the right relationships help individuals integrate their shadow and awaken their potential. And this is exactly what happens when two conscious souls meet. They gently challenge each other in ways that support growth instead of causing stress. They motivate each other to break old patterns and embrace healthier ones. They inspire each other to become more compassionate with themselves and with others. Every interaction becomes a reminder that they are capable of rising above fear, doubt, and insecurity. They notice that their confidence grows naturally in the presence of one another, because awakened souls do not feed insecurity. They dissolve it. They do not amplify doubt. They calm it. They do not reflect fear. They reflect possibility. This creates a powerful inner shift that helps each soul rise into a higher version of themselves. Their thoughts become clearer because they finally have someone who understands the language of their inner world. Their emotions feel lighter because they no longer carry the weight of unspoken truth. Their dreams feel more attainable because they feel supported by someone who believes in growth, not limitation. Jung believed that the soul is always seeking wholeness, and when two conscious individuals meet, they help each other move closer to that wholeness. They highlight each other's strengths, but they also gently illuminate each other's shadows. This is not done with criticism. It is done with understanding. It is done with compassion. It is done with the awareness that the shadow is not something to fear, but something to integrate. Their connection encourages emotional maturity, because both souls value accountability and truth. They do not blame, they reflect. They do not avoid, they explore. They do not suppress, they understand. This level of emotional clarity allows the relationship to grow in a healthy direction. There is no room for manipulation, ego battles, or power struggles because awakened souls do not seek control. They seek harmony. They do not seek to be right. They seek to be real. Their honesty becomes refreshing because it comes from a place of kindness rather than harshness. They speak with intention, listen with empathy, and interact with awareness. Their presence becomes a source of strength because it reminds each soul of the resilience they developed through their inner journey. They inspire each other to stay committed to their purpose, even when the world becomes challenging. They push each other toward their dreams not through pressure but through belief. They help each other let go of old identities and step into new versions of themselves. Their bond becomes a sacred space where transformation unfolds naturally. They begin to understand that their meeting is a reflection of their inner readiness. The universe brings awakened souls together when they are strong enough, aware enough, and open enough to receive the lessons and blessings the connection carries. Their meeting becomes a moment that shifts their perspective and expands their consciousness. They start viewing life with more gratitude, more clarity, and more courage. They recognize that the presence of another awakened soul is a gift that encourages them to keep evolving. They feel inspired to walk their path with more confidence and less hesitation. They trust their intuition more deeply because they see how it guided them to this powerful encounter. They begin to appreciate how far they have come, and they feel motivated to continue moving forward with an open heart and a strong spirit. They also begin to see how their connection brings balance to aspects of their personality that once felt fragmented or misunderstood. One soul may carry a calm presence that soothes the intensity within the other, while the other may carry a fire that awakens new strength and passion. This natural balancing effect feels effortless because awakened souls complement each other without trying to change who the other person is. They enhance each other's evolution instead of interfering with it. Jung believed that the psyche is drawn toward people who help unlock its hidden potential, and awakened souls are particularly sensitive to these subtle alignments. Their connection grows stronger because it is rooted in mutual evolution. They share insights, reflections, and experiences that deepen their understanding of themselves and the world around them. They help each other see possibilities where there were once limitations. When two awakened souls continue to interact, the connection deepens in ways that are not dramatic on the surface but transformative beneath it. And Carl Jung believed that such relationships function as catalysts for individuation, meaning that each person becomes more whole, more self-aware, more integrated, and more aligned with their authentic nature, simply through the presence and influence of the other. Because awakened souls do not meet to satisfy ego-based needs, but to facilitate psychological expansion, spiritual growth, and inner truth. And this is why the connection feels less like meeting a stranger and more like reconnecting with someone who has always been part of your journey, even if you never crossed paths before. Awakened souls have a unique way of interacting because there is no competition, no hidden agenda, no fight for dominance, and no fear of being overshadowed, since both individuals have already confronted and transcended those ego-driven insecurities within themselves. And when two people who are grounded, centered, and emotionally mature come together, the relationship becomes a space of expansion rather than restriction, possibility rather than limitation, and mutual evolution rather than emotional dependency. Jung believed that such relationships exist to help the psyche evolve rather than stabilize the ego, and that is why awakened connections can feel both gentle and intense, peaceful and electrifying, soothing and challenging, all at the same time. One of the most defining aspects of such a meeting is the dissolution of projection, because Jung famously said that, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. And most human relationships are built on projections, fantasies, expectations, illusions, wounds, unresolved childhood patterns. Yet awakened souls have already dissolved many of these projections within themselves, and so they see each other clearly, not through the fog of unhealed emotions, but through the clarity of self-awareness. And this clarity makes the bond unusually honest, balanced, and stable, even in moments of intensity. Without projection, there is no idealization, no unrealistic fantasy, no blind attachment, because awakened souls connect from a place of knowing, not longing. However, Jung emphasized that awakening does not mean perfection, and when two awakened souls meet, their remaining shadows also become visible, not as threats but as invitations, because awakened souls recognize that shadow work never ends, that the unconscious is vast and complex, and that every relationship, no matter how evolved, brings unhealed parts to the surface. And this recognition does not create conflict, but accelerates healing. Instead of reacting defensively, awakened souls lean into introspection, asking what each trigger reveals, what hidden fear is being exposed, what old wound is being touched. And this maturity allows the connection to deepen instead of collapse under pressure. They do not fight to be right, they seek to be aware. Jung believed that the purpose of relationships is not happiness but wholeness, and awakened souls embody this principle naturally because they value growth more than comfort, authenticity more than superficial harmony, truth more than emotional fluff. And this shared orientation creates a powerful synergy that elevates both individuals. When one person grows, the other naturally evolves as well, because each person inspires, challenges, and elevates the other through example rather than pressure. This dynamic makes the relationship feel alive and ever-changing. constantly moving toward deeper integration. Another extraordinary part of the awakened connection is energetic alignment, which Jung would interpret through the lens of synchronicity, the meaningful coincidences that occur when two people are connected at a deep psychological level.